Happy Monday and welcome to the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Standing right before you, you see First Lady Melania Trump officially welcoming the White House Christmas tree that will be placed in the Blue Room. Let's take a live look in. So there you have it. First Lady Melania Trump officially welcoming the White House Christmas tree that yet again will be placed in the Blue Room. The tree happened to be presented by farm owners Rex and Jessica Corson. The two will also supply a smaller tree for the Oval Office. The family earned the honor by winning the National Christmas Tree Association's National Tree Contest back in July, the competition that selects the farm supplying the White House Christmas tree each and every year. Yet again, it is officially Christmas time. Well, folks, we're taking a live look at the White House, where today we got plenty of sunshine, believe it or not. It will be somewhat mild today, top out in the low to mid 60s. In Fairfax County, police there now investigating a death. A man found naked and unconscious not far from the Dunn-Loring Metro Station parking garage. We also know from police that someone called in and that the dispatcher heard a person screaming, "Get away from me," and then heard a struggle on the phone. Here's what else was heard.
Now it's getting into a fight, saying there's two males physically fighting and then one of them is naked. I'm getting a second caller for the fight, saying that the naked male is trying to choke another male.
Police say another person involved remained on the scene, but no other information is being shared at this time as the investigation continues. Well, drivers are now traveling on the new 495 express lanes in Northern Virginia. The 2.5-mile extension opened a day late because of Saturday's rain. It connects the existing express lanes to the George Washington Memorial Parkway and Georgetown Pike. Drivers, well, now have more options as a result. This coming just in time as Thanksgiving traffic builds. The project began back in March of 2022, and though it's supposed to make travel easier, one big question many drivers have is, how much will it cost? Well, the tolls are dynamic, meaning they change based on demand. So a typical trip, solo drivers can expect to pay anywhere from $5 to $12. But during peak congestion, like holiday travel, well, it can jump to $15 to $25. We'll keep track of how drivers are reacting as this develops. Switching gears to politics, President Trump says something good just may be happening following the talks in Geneva yesterday on a plan to end Russia's war in Ukraine. EU leaders are meeting for further talks today as the U.S. and Ukrainian delegations returned home. Meanwhile, back here at home, President Trump now planning to unveil a new proposal for addressing health care costs as early as today as his administration tries to avert a spike in premiums driven by the expiration of key Affordable Act subsidies. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Arif Halaby, radio host and political strategist back here on the Live Zone. Happy Monday, my friend. Good to see you.
Hey, happy Monday. How are you?
I'm doing good. I think a lot of folks are smiling from ear to ear. You got a chance to witness First Lady Melania Trump officially welcoming the Christmas tree to the White House. Arif, it's Christmas time.
I would like to hear her say Merry Christmas in the 5 languages that she speaks fluently. That's amazing. A very elegant woman for sure.
You know what? That's a good thing. We'll get my people to talk to her people, or better yet, your people. You have the better connections, and see if we can make that happen. Arif, let's start with the possibility that a deal could finally be struck with, well, let's say regarding bringing an end to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, Russia has always planned on winning this war, and there's no question that they can. Ukraine, and I have said this from pretty much the beginning, Ukraine has a 0% chance of winning this war. It just doesn't have the resources, it doesn't have the people. It's kidnapping people and pushing them into servitude in the military right off the streets. It's just never going to happen that Ukraine has a chance to win. They gambled, they lost, they're going to lose some territory, no question about it. The Donbass region, which is the Russian-speaking area. Now remember, Donbass and that whole region, there's a few different, what we might call states or provinces. There's a few different ones, but they all speak Russian. They have Russian culture. They believe themselves to be Russian. They happen to be on this side of the border for Ukraine. So I would say there's going to be some give up there, especially if you get a vote from the people. They're not interested in being part of Ukraine at all. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, this is something that Donald Trump has been pushing for quite some time. Obviously, he campaigned on this, stating that should he win the election, to which he did, this war would come to an immediate end. That has not happened as yet, but we expect perhaps soon and very soon that will actually come to fruition. As you stated, we'll have to wait and see. Let's move on to Donald Trump's plan to unveil a new proposal for addressing health care. The plan aims to fulfill Trump's vow to deliver a better alternative to enhanced ACA subsidies relied on by nearly 22 million people, and comes after Democrats rejected measures to reopen the shuttered government. Yet again, Arif, will it happen?
Yeah, the health insurance subsidy, also known as Obamacare or the ACA, was never intended to make health care better. It was intended to make health insurance better. People have to understand, in the health insurance world, the insurance companies decide how much they pay the doctors, how much they pay the hospitals. Unless you're going to have doctors and hospitals work for free, somebody's going to have to pay them. In addition to all of that, the ACA was designed to kind of expire right about now, in the sense that it was really going to run out of money. The U.S. government front-loaded dollars to the insurance companies, told them, use this to kind of pay off some of the rates, so you'll accept less from the customer. You'll take from this pot of money. During this period of time, they ran out of money, and now it's time to pay back. And it was set like this. When the Democrats put this proposal together along with John McCain, it was designed for this proposal to kind of come to an end now. And so now it's on President Trump's desk. I think it needs to be thrown out and start over, as sad as it is. It's just a very broken system.
Yeah, and yet again, the president's plan could very well be unveiled sometime later today. Should that happen during our show, we'll take you there live to the White House. Speaking of the White House, we know that Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene now denying a report that she plans to run for president come 2028. The Georgia Republican announced on Friday that she won't seek re-election and will leave her seat in January amid a public falling out with her longtime ally, President Donald Trump. This is, I got to tell you, it's made for a movie there, Arif, what we're seeing unfold right before our very eyes.
Yeah, I was surprised how quickly she gave up. She didn't seem like somebody that would do that. But I happen to know the behind the scenes on why she's retiring, or resigning rather, in January. A lot of folks don't know this. This happens to be my world on the financial side. She is eligible for a pension once you serve 5 years and 5 minutes. That's in January. When she crosses that January 1st deadline, she's now eligible for a pension from the House. That's important to understand, because the pension for the House is different than the pension for the Senate. The Senate, you have to serve a little bit longer term, but in this side, you have to serve 5 years, basically 3 elections. Once you cross over that January 1st, you're now entitled to a pension when you reach age 60.
Okay, so but Arif, elaborate on that. The purpose of receiving the pension. I mean, this could happen at any time, correct? Why now?
Yeah, she has to go past January 1st to receive the pension. So why would she resign not February 1st or, a year later when she just run out her term? I'm not really sure why. I think because she's in a very protected, in other words, a very conservative Georgia district. That gives her the ability to step aside. Now, there has to be an election within the next 30 days, or at least the stated of when the election is going to take place in the next 30 days. That's important. The Georgia governor will set that timeline. I wish she wouldn't have done it this way. I think the House has a very thin majority, and I believe this is kind of like a middle finger to Mr. Johnson, the Speaker Johnson, and President Trump. Here's the card you're dealt. Let's see how you can handle it.
Yeah.
I don't think she's respecting her voters very much by doing this, by just stepping down.
All right. Well, we'll end with this with regard to her situation. You would think that one would look at other things, perhaps the people, but to state that all of this surrounds a financial gain for her, yet again, what does that say about not only the Republican Party, but lawmakers in general?
Yeah, all lawmakers are always in it for themselves. Nancy Pelosi's stock trades are up thousands and thousands of %. Former Democrat senator for California, her husband was the first check for this high-speed rail. It was $110 million was the first check cut to her husband's company. I think you've seen this time and time again, except for Speaker Johnson. People don't understand. He donates most of his check, and he actually donates a lot of his money. And so does President Trump. This is important. President Trump has never taken a salary. Every year, every quarter, he donates his salary. And when he publicizes it, nobody in the mainstream media makes a big deal out of it, including the Negro College Fund, HBCUs. He's given money to various college associations, to people that vote against him. Yeah. And listen, I don't agree with everything President Trump says, but when somebody does something good, we want to respect that and honor that. When somebody like Mrs. Green decides to step down, and I believe it's for financial gain, we should talk about that and put that in its place as well.
Yeah. Well, there's two sides to the coin, so either side, should that happen, it should be addressed. Let's move to the Justice Department now, asking a federal judge in Florida to reconsider unsealing grand jury materials related to an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, as the agency faces a congressional mandated deadline to release all documents related to the accused sex trafficker next month. This has a lot of folks talking, Arif.
Yeah, it does. You always wonder what's in the documents. If there was something against President Trump, remember, they used everything they could to go after President Trump. Various lawsuits in various states, various jurisdictions, federal, state. They went after him up, down, and sideways, including trying to remove him from the ballot in places like Colorado. However, if his name was in this list, I think they would have released it by now. For sure they would have. So here's what I think is the issue. I think when you are in power, regardless of what side you are on, you have to have ice cold water in your veins. You have to be able to play big boy ball. And that's what I think President Trump does, and his team, when they see who's in it, because probably a lot of his friends are in it, whether in the nefarious side or just the innocent side. I think a lot of people's lives are going to change. We saw Bill Gates, we saw Bill Clinton's names allegedly in there. Melinda Gates actually states that's one of the reasons she separated and divorced from Bill Gates. So you saw the sickness of Jeffrey Epstein at the Clinton White House countless times, a dozen times plus. You saw Mr. Clinton fly on the plane. I think you're going to see a lot of good people who may have done other good things be taken down with this. Larry Summers, Harvard professor, was the latest.
Yeah,
to fall.
I would have to agree with you. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. But yet again, time will tell. We'll end with this, and that is, for the first time in his second term, President Trump was confronted by his fellow Republicans, and he fell in line, Arif. Rather than face a massive defection of Republican voters in the House, well, Trump flipped to support a bill to force the Department of Justice to release a non-classified file related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. I say all of that to say, Arif, is the president now a lame duck?
No, he's not a lame duck, not yet. I would say a year from now, we could start talking about that after the elections of midterms. I'd say how that falls in line, if the Republicans gain any seats or not, how much they lose if they lose. I think that's when you start seeing lame duck conversations take place. What I see now is President Trump says, I have a certain amount of capital, certain amount of political friendships and political capital. I'm going to use it in some places. Other places, it's just not worth it. Look, when we saw Israel's former Prime Minister Ehud Barak and Jeffrey Epstein, that's a lot of power over Israel that the president would like to have, and that's just one. Could there be countless other foreign governments, state governments that the president wanted to keep under his back pocket? I think so. He's going to lose some of that leverage, but he's willing to fight another fight and let this one go.
Yeah. Yet again, we'll just have to wait and see. Arif Halaby, Radio host and political strategist, joining us yet again on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, my friend. Happy Monday to you. If I don't see you prior to Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving as well.
Yes, you too. Be well.
All right, folks, let's take another live look at the White House, where earlier, just minutes ago, First Lady Melania Trump officially received the White House Christmas tree. It will be placed in the Blue Room. Oh, by the way, she will receive a second tree that will also be placed in the Oval Office. Well, in just about an hour, a number of contracted service workers demanding airline contractors pay and more livable wages will hold a rally at Dulles International Airport. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is 32BJ SEIU President Manny Pastreich, right here on the Live Zone. Sir, good to see you and welcome to the show.
Great. Thank you for having us.
So let's jump right into this. More than 185,000 members in 12 states, including 22,000 right here in the D.C. metropolitan area. You, sir, happen to be the president of. At issue, well, additional pay. Many are now crying foul and have, well, come to their wits' end, if you will. Hence the rally set to get underway momentarily. Do tell.
Foul is a good word for it. workers at Dulles and National make $16.78 an hour in one of some of the most expensive places to live in Washington, D.C. When we talk to the folks that make this airport work, the ramp workers, the cleaners who clean the airports and the cabins, the airlines themselves, the folks that move the bags, these folks are having trouble affording to live in Loudoun County, trouble affording to pay their rent, pay for food, and all the things they need to do. And this is one of the biggest transportation hubs in the country.
Now you have a number of lawmakers, really, in essence, joining your effort to bring about more livable wages for folks. I'm curious, can you tell us exactly who has really lent a helping hand?
I mean, today we'll be joined by Congressman Subramaniam, which we're honored to have him there. Last month, Congressman Walkinshaw showed up to support these workers. And we're also, we work very hard to get Governor-elect Spanberger elected, and really because of her commitment to stand with these workers. The governor of Virginia, the mayor of D.C., the governor of Maryland, and the president appoints the board that makes the decisions, that sets minimum standards for these workers. So we've worked hard for those politicians who have committed to support airport workers at Dulles and National.
Yeah. So let's talk about a hard number, if you will, a particular number that you were looking for in order to make sure that all the workers are now happy and will return to work with smiles on their faces, if you will.
Yeah, well, that's what our bargaining committee will determine. We have a bargaining committee of dozens of workers from these airports. But what we know is 1678, when we talk to our members, 80% of them have trouble affording housing. Almost half of them don't have health care at all, and those that do, they have big deductibles and copays. When we surveyed our members, 54% of them said they had trouble buying the food that their families needed. So we will continue to push for significant increases that respect the important work that these workers do. I was talking yesterday with Ali Salil, who's a ramp agent, a ramp service agent, who loads the bags onto the planes and makes sure that the weight of those bags is balanced for safety reasons. And Ali just had a baby, and he works 2 jobs at the airport. He's having trouble paying his rent. He couldn't pay his electric bill, so when his wife brought home their baby, they didn't even have electricity. And he talks about how so many workers at the airport actually sleep in the parking lots just because they can't afford the housing in Loudoun County. So we have to make significant improvements.
Yeah, Manny, I got to be honest with you. It sounds like a no-brainer to me. Pay them more. It's deserving, yet you're getting strong opposition. The question is why?
We've sat down with these employers for 3 sessions and basically made no progress. And this airport has moved a record number of passengers. Both National and Dulles have moved a record number of passengers. When you look at the 2 major airlines, United and American Airlines, they have over $50 billion, with a B, $billion in revenue every year. There's no good reason that this transportation hub can't be a hub of fair pay, a hub of benefits, a hub of the kind of things that make workers be able to live in Loudoun County and Arlington County and the places that they do. So you're 100% correct.
Yeah. Yet again, a rally set to get underway momentarily at Dulles International Airport. What will it take for you to deem that rally a success?
It will be a success because we're going to make the voices of airport workers heard, as we did last month, and we'll continue to do. We'll continue to show up at the airport to make sure those workers' voices are heard. We'll continue to push politically to get the politicians that control this airport to do what they can to push up wages and benefits, and we'll continue to push with these employers and the airlines to do what's right for the workers that make this incredibly important transportation hub work.
Yeah, obviously we are bringing this to the attention of a number of folks that happen to live right here in the DMV, those that are viewing our show right now, and they too want to lend a helping hand. What can someone do?
I would say, first of all, during these very busy Thanksgiving holidays, just show your thanks to these workers, knowing that they have the support of the 53 million passengers that go in and out of these airports every day. Will give them the confidence to continue to fight on. Because right now they're not getting any positive response from their employers. They're not getting any positive response from the airlines. They're not getting any positive response from the airport authority. So I would just say giving your support to these workers as you go in and out of the airport for the incredibly important work that they do is what we would ask right now.
Yet again, we have been speaking with 32BJ SEIU President Manny Pastreich, joining us right here on the Live Zone. Sir, we truly appreciate your time.
Thank you for your bringing this to the attention of the DMV.
You bet. All right, folks, we'll take our first break, and we'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. As violence against Christian communities in Nigeria continues to escalate, the United States now weighing whether or not to take its most significant step yet, formally designating Nigeria a country of particular concern. Joining us now is Mr. Mark Walker. He is the ambassador designate for the International Religious Freedom, who has been raising the alarm about kidnappings, massacres, and the targeting of Christian school children and clergy. With his confirmation hearing expected in the coming days, Mr. Walker could soon have the authority to impose sanctions and diplomatic consequences. He now joins us right here on the Live Zone. Sir, it is such an honor. Truly appreciate you joining us right here on the show.
No, we appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having us.
So for folks that are really hearing about this for the first time and have not been following it all that closely, how would you describe the situation currently in Nigeria?
Well, it's horrific. It's become a total bloodbath, and this is not just something that's happened in the last few weeks and months. This has been going on for years, for literally thousands of Christians, and we want to protect people of all faiths, but in particular Nigeria, thousands of Christians have been slaughtered, kidnapped. Just this last week alone, there was 25 young girls, student girls, kidnapped on Monday. A church was invaded on Wednesday where people were killed. Parishioners, 38 were kidnapped. And then on Friday, the nightmare of the situation, 300 were taken, 50 of those have been recovered. But this is going on and on. I won't get into all the graphic things that literally happen to these human beings and the amount of evil that's being perpetrated. But I'm so grateful that President Trump, even though he had some pushback, decided to say, we're going to go ahead and label Nigeria and put them on what we call the CPC list, or the countries of particular concern.
And with that being said, it's no secret you've spoken about considering Nigeria for designation as a country of particular concern. That's, for so many folks, they're saying, what exactly does that mean, and how does that affect the country overall?
Well, only two people can actually make that call. It is Secretary Rubio and President Trump. In this position that was created, signed into law by Bill Clinton in 1998, would be the principal advisor to the Secretary, to the President, on recommending which country should go on that. And when we feel like the government, to the heart of your question, isn't doing enough to defend or protect a certain religious group or people of faith or sect in that country, it is then our duty to be able to respond, or would be to respond, to provide that information to the President or to the Secretary of the State. And in this case in Nigeria, I do agree with the President that the government is simply not doing enough to protect some of the folks there in the country.
Very interesting. Sir, if confirmed, I must ask, to this position, would you impose sanctions immediately?
Well, that's ultimately the President Trump's call, or Secretary Rubio's call. And one of the things that happens when you get put on the list, it's why countries push back, is because it does create economic sanctions among other restrictions. And that's why President Trump took a bold statement in jumping out there after he'd seen the amount of atrocities being committed. He wants the Nigerian government to do more. We want it. And I'm sure the people, the victims, want the Nigerian government to do more as well.
Yeah, with regard to doing more, what exactly should they be doing? There's so many folks asking the question why. Well, how have we gotten to this point, and why does this continue?
Well, sure. To give you, trying to stay out of the weeds here on a quick interview, but for give you one example, this is a lot of times it's the Fulani militants that are coming in. It's Boko Haram, it's ISWAP, it's Al-Shabaab. And these farmers, the only thing that they're allowed by law to protect themselves is a single shot, kind of a bushwhack gun. And yet the other groups come in with their trucks, with their AK-47s. We want the government to reduce the restrictions that they're putting on certain Christians, certain religious groups, certain people in parts of the country where they can protect their property, where they can protect their personal lives as well.
It's no secret you have worked with religious advocates globally. What gives you hope as you continue to ponder as to whether or not, well, we will see more carnage and death within that area?
Well, you're right. I was a pastor for 16 years before coming to Congress. I've worked at the different various refugee camps. There are a lot of good people, not just government. There are a lot of nonprofit, a lot of those American-based who are on the ground, ADFI, Open Doors, and others, who literally have people there on the front lines trying to bring about some resolve. But between President Trump and Secretary Rubio's leadership and a lot of these great groups, I think we've got a chance to push forward, maybe for the first time in many, many years.
Well said. Yet again, we've been speaking with Mr. Mark Walker, the ambassador designate for the International Religious Freedom, kind enough to join us right here on the Live Zone. Sir, we truly appreciate your time.
Thank you. God bless.
You bet. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, Annie Mae joins us. It's our Monday Talkers coming up next right here on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone on a Feel Good Monday. Annie Mae back in studio joining us for our Monday Talkers. Cello friend.
Getting prepped for a little Thanksgiving holiday week.
Yeah. This is awesome. I'll be flying to Florida to visit Mom, and my sister's flying in from Zurich, so I get a chance to hang out with her and her husband. So it's going to be really cool. I'm excited.
Go.
Yeah. For us, it's already kind of like Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because we're off Thursday and Friday.
I know. If you're off Thursday and Friday,
so
is
awesome.
Monday actually Wednesday?
Yes. So
That's
happy
why I
hump
feel like
day.
I'm in a good mood. I'm like, okay. I was like, amen, that can bring me down today.
All right. Well, this might bring you down just a tad bit.
Oh, gosh.
According to a newly released study, women spend more time thinking about what men are thinking than they are actually thinking. The study found that most women will always ask a guy, hey, what are you thinking about? And quite honestly, most guys will answer with absolutely nothing. Does this happen to be you, Annie Mae?
Oh my God, I always think about what my boyfriend's thinking. I'm like, I wonder what he's thinking about this, and then I wonder as a result what he's thinking, and then what I'm thinking about what he's thinking. Oh my God, I just think a lot.
Right.
I'm a thinker about everything. I literally think about everything. It's not like a mantra, but it's something that I do. I feel like if I think of the worst thing that can happen, I'm not surprised. I'm always prepared.
Okay.
You know, instead of like always thinking about the best thing that is going to happen, I always think about the worst so that when it does happen, if it does happen, that I'm prepared.
I got it. Yeah,
right?
Preparation is key.
Always thinking about everything.
Well, let me tell you, as a guy, we're not thinking.
You're not thinking much.
We're just hanging out. It's so funny. That is so true. I remember watching a football game, and my friend said, what are you thinking about? I'm like, absolutely nothing.
You're like, I'm watching.
Yes, you are. No, I'm just watching football.
Yeah. There's always like an inner working, I think, in a girl's brain that like when women and men aren't getting along, you're like, oh, there's the inner workings of my brain,
Yeah.
and you're just not really thinking all that much. And then I think that I am like, oh, he's thinking about this.
Oh,
and
that's
then
so
you're
funny.
not actually. And that's where the miscommunication comes in.
Yeah. So there you go. Ladies, it's official. We're not thinking about anything.
And we're thinking too much.
Moving on. Hey, did you hear about this? The Ralph Lauren Christmas trend is really taking over holiday decor with its, well, let's just say, American appeal and look. It's beginning to look a lot like Ralph Lauren. You see this, Annie Mae? Apparently more and more folks are using this during the holiday season to decorate their homes instead of, let's say, the other traditional Christmas holiday decor. What are you thinking about that?
Because it's like old and cute. That's
that
why I
what
like
it
it.
is?
It's like nostalgic, I
Yeah.
think. Because when you think about Christmas, I think when you think about the best memories that you have, it's always from like when you were a child,
Yep.
right? Because you're like opening presents, it's so fun. And I feel like that's very like old style, the way that Christmas was, the plaid, the red and the green plaid with like gold tinsel and whatever. But I feel like now it's all modern day Christmas, you know, where you get everything from TJ Maxx, which I can't even complain, but everything's like
there.
white and gray, like very clean aesthetic versus like old Christmas, old style Christmas is great.
Yeah, I'm all for it. A lot of my shirts are from Ralph Lauren or Polo, whatever you want to call it nowadays. And yeah, so I think it's really kind of cool. It's, to your point, it's kind of like a throwback. And I don't know. And plus, it's really like the Christmas colors.
Yeah.
Red and green. I mean, is it not? So
it's cute.
Yeah.
I love it. It's giving like, I don't know what decade it's giving. Is that like 70s, 80s? Were you alive in those?
Okay, so now you have jokes. I was about to answer that too. None of your daggone business. How about that? I'll tell you somebody who wasn't alive. This guy, producer Joey, now joining us.
Questionably alive. All right, so let's talk about lines. Americans spend 37 billion hours annually, according to the New York Times, waiting in them. And on Saturday, I added to that because I went to the merchandise pop-up for the show Smiling Friends in Brooklyn. I waited for 4 hours and did not get in.
Are you
this
serious?
line wraps all the way around the
Why?
Brooklyn Bridge and zigzags, goes all kinds of ways. And what's the longest line you guys have ever waited in, and was it worth it?
Well, first of all, was it worth it for you?
I was gonna say.
I was thinking about that a lot, like I got to meet other fans of this show that I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
But at some point it's like, do I enjoy being outside this much? Do I enjoy meeting other people this much? Questionable. And it was all for like a plastic toy.
Guy, what do you think? Lines. How long have you waited in one?
Probably 2 hours, and I know exactly what it's at King's Dominion for, let's say, a roller coaster.
I was gonna say, it's gotta be a roller coaster.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got to be a roller coaster.
What about you?
I'll take you back on a time machine. Back to the year 2018 when I was at the Pennsylvania State University in line at P-Man. That is a long line, let me tell you. And a lot of people wait in it when you know the bouncer helps. So your girl just skedaddles right to the front and I go, hi. And no, I'm kidding. I wait in lines like everybody else does. But I would probably say like King's Dominion, Six Flags, one of those, Disney, something that you're waiting in line for when it comes to like a water slide or a roller coaster. Yeah. That's definitely the longest.
And probably back in 2018, Black Friday lines, which now really don't exist because we purchase everything online.
I know. My mom, it was so funny. I was just talking about my mom about, she was like, oh, Black Friday's going to be like crazy at the mall. I was like, people don't go to the mall anymore.
Nobody does
I literally was
anymore.
like, why would I do that when I can go order online? Why? Under what circumstance?
Yeah, I remember I paid someone to stand outside of a Best Buy so that I could purchase a flat screen TV. This was like probably before 2018.
The early 2000s were unlike any other.
Yeah, the good old days.
The good old days.
Katie May joining us with assist from producer Joey for our Monday Talkers right here on the Live Zone. We appreciate you. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. 'Tis the season to be thankful, and here's proof in the pudding of just that. I want to tell you about Patrick Bradley, a U.S. Navy and Navy Reserve veteran. You see, right this very moment, Mr. Bradley and his family are receiving a new roof from Precision Exteriors, an Owens Corning platform roofing contractor. Now, I should make mention, the Owens Corning Roof Deployment Project is a nationwide effort to show gratitude and honor the veterans who served their country. Joining us to tell us the great news is none other than Mr. Nate Whitaker with Precision Exteriors. Mr. Whitaker, good to see you, sir, and welcome to the show.
Oh, good to see you. Thanks for having us.
I got to tell you, when I heard about this story, it just made me feel warm and fuzzy inside and smile from ear to ear. This is such a great thing that you all are doing. First of all, we are truly fortunate and thankful for the service of Mr. Patrick Bradley, yet again a U.S. Navy and Navy Reserve veteran. What is it that you all are doing at this very moment?
Well, we've given Mr. Bradley a brand new roof. So we've taken off all the old shingles, took it all the way down, and we're putting it on just like we would for anybody else. Complete new roof from top to bottom. And it comes with the Owens Corning Platinum warranty, so he's good for the rest of his life.
I absolutely love this. Yet again, this is taking place in Millington, Maryland. You all do this year in and year out. And by the way, more than 725 military family members nationwide have received new roofs. I want you to talk about the price to which it would normally cost someone to do something like this.
This roof would have been about $20,000.
Wow. Wow. And yet again, you all found it within yourselves to give back in a major way. Is Mr. Bradley nearby? Is he standing there?
He's right here with us.
Wow. Okay. But Mr. Bradley, yet again, thank you so much for your service, sir. The mere fact that you're getting a new roof, saving some $20,000, as you heard me make mention in the intro, 'tis the season to be thankful, and I bet you are truly thankful for just that.
Really thankful. Good job.
Yeah. Mr. Bradley, obviously you spent so many years serving our country, and I'm curious, what does it mean to you to have this happen?
Miracle. Beautiful.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. You can tell. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Live joy. Believe me, perfect.
Yeah. Mr. Whitaker, to see the excitement on his face, and obviously a man of very few words, but you can tell it's near and dear to his heart. You heard me make mention, I feel warm and fuzzy inside, but I would assume you feel the same way.
Well, I'm sure the Bradleys feel that way for sure. And yes, we love doing this. We've done this through Habitat for Humanity. We're doing it now with Rebuild Together. And we just love giving back to the community, and especially to those who served us in our military.
Yeah. How long does something like this take with regard to replacing the roof? How many days will you be there?
This is about a 33 square roof, and we'll be here in and out in one day.
Really? And so, sir, yet again, all this is foreign to me. Is that the standard time it takes to rebuild a roof, or are you all paying more attention because, yet again, you're doing this great deed?
No, we do about 33 squares a day, typically with two crews. And sometimes if we have larger jobs, we'll carry 4 crews and get as much done as we can in a day. We can do up to 64 squares.
Wow. And I want to make mention that you have served more than 725 military members nationwide. To think that you all do this each and every year, and it has not stopped and it continues, I truly have to commend you all for doing what you're doing. Folks that want to find out more information, maybe they want to contribute and or donate to help you all offset the cost. How would one go about to do so?
I think you'd get a hold of Guinevere at Rebuild Together, and we can provide a phone number for that. Or can you give me the website, Guinevere?
Yeah, the Rebuilding Together website is rteasternshore.org, or folks can contact us by phone, 410-778-4544, and if we're not in the right service area, we'll put you through to the Owens Corning contractor that is.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. Can you do me a favor, pan around again, and let me see that sign that Mr. Whitaker is standing right next to. I want to make sure we see that loud and clear. There we go. How cool is that? To think that you all are giving back to those who served. Gosh, I absolutely love this, guys. And what a great time to do this. You know, we are celebrating Thanksgiving, all things being thankful this week, and to think that you all are taking time out and time away from your families in order to honor yet again this amazing man, the veteran that served for so many years. I have to say it. We salute you for doing just that. We truly appreciate your efforts.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Yeah, I don't know, guys. That really just makes me feel really good to know that there are still some kind-hearted people in this world, and they're giving back in a major way. And that's exactly what you saw right here on the Live Zone. We'll take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, the recent Department of Education reclassification of degree categories has sparked immediate concern and confusion among students, parents, and academic institutions nationwide. This policy shift has sweeping implications for financial aid eligibility, program funding, job market alignment, and long-term student debt outcomes, yet very few Americans fully understand what it means. Joining us to discuss just that and so much more is Dr. Sonia Lewis, widely known as the Student Loan Doctor. Dr. Lewis is a student loan strategist and a leading voice in higher education finance. Dr. Lewis, good to see you and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to have you here on this show. All right, I'm confused. I'm just going to, I'll start off by saying I'm one of the first ones. And so with that, what does the Department of Education's new degree reclassification mean for students right this very moment?
So what's happening, this is a part of a major reclassification of the graduate and professional programs under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And so the U.S. Department of Education is narrowing down its definition of a professional degree. So this affects the healthcare, the education, the social work, the business, and other graduate fields.
Wow. And so with that being said, how many students in essence will be impacted when selecting, let's say, majors and or applying to new programs?
Yeah, this is going to be very significant for those that are starting in 2026. This takes place in July of 2026. And so students in the nursing, the social work, teaching, and similar fields are going to need to have a bigger financial plan, especially if they are going beyond the bachelor's level. So it's going to affect millions, unfortunately, and those that are currently still in school.
Yeah, gosh, I got to tell you, this is going to your point, impact so many folks, and it's such what we call a big talker. I wish more people happen to be discussing just this, and perhaps that will take place at the Thanksgiving dinner table this upcoming Thursday. Let's talk about financial aid risks that families, well, they really need to understand, not now, but right now.
Mm-hmm. So here's the challenge. Right now, the system is designed to allow you to borrow a lot of money. And the challenge here is that sometimes there's not responsible borrowing and people just don't know better, right? And particularly for our students that are first time college generation students. So what we can expect to see with this shift is it's going to really make people say, can I afford that school? What are my grant options? Do I need scholarships? And what is the total cost of the degree or the field that I want to go in? So it's going to be a lot of talk going into this holiday season in spring about what does true affordability look like.
Yeah. I guess my next question is, and I think so many folks are probably asking the same thing, why? Why did the Department of Education decide to move in this manner?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate because a lot of professions are taking this change personal, but it's really about the federal government reevaluating which programs qualify for higher borrowing limits. So for years, borrower had been taking on extremely high debt with limited oversight in terms of outcome. And so hopefully with this change, they're trying to align borrowing with earning potential. Now, it will disproportionately affect certain groups in certain fields, but it's really to make people borrow a little more wisely so that they can pay it back.
Yeah, I think you touched on this earlier, but I want to make sure that we're really clear about that. And that happens to surround degree reclassification and how it could affect, let's say, job pathways, credential value, and long-term earnings.
So what we're going to see is a shift of those that are going to be able to afford to enter into the space at a graduate level. And so I want to be clear, the government's not saying you're not able to borrow any money towards these fields. It's the borrowing limits. And so instead of it being now what it once was of 200 or 250,000, they're saying, hey, now you can only borrow 100,000 at the graduate level. The bigger charge here is making sure that education is affordable across the country so that people can stay within these limits. So it's going to really shake up higher ed to say, we're going to have to change our prices so that we can see qualified students who need to borrow be able to afford these programs.
Yeah, which would lead me to my next question is, what in the heck can Americans do right now in order to protect themselves from, let's say, financial or academic disruption?
Yeah, planning is at an all-time high. You really, before used to could just say, I'm going to go to this school and you kind of could figure it out. But now you're going to have to really look at the cost long term, all 4 years at a bachelor's level. Oh, this field to make this amount is going to require me this at a master's or a doctoral level. So really, parents at the early stages are going to have to talk through a game plan for their child going. Graduate level students have to say, if I borrow this money, am I going to have a good return on investment? So planning is going to be at an all-time high with the schools and within the home.
Yeah, as we have all heard, planning is definitely key. I am so glad we had the opportunity to have you come on the show. Before we leave, I'm curious, what are folks saying? The everyday American, when you have these conversations with folks, are they as surprised as I am?
Oh, I mean, the nurses, the teachers, everyone's in an uproar because a lot of these categories, we see that women or African American women and people that are really affected by this change financially are saying this is not fair. What is the option? What is the solution? Will there be additional funding in terms of grants? What are the institutions going to do? So you're going to see a lot of groups really almost holding the line against these changes. I don't think this is going to go over smooth, and really they have until July to make this pass through.
All right. Well, folks that want to find out more information, how would one go about to do so?
Yeah, they can always, first off, studentaid.gov is where you always want to go for any information. Reputable news sites such as yours will always be reporting reputable information. And then our site, we always talk every day on social media. The Student Loan Doctor Instagram, drpleasehelpme.com, our website. We always report out what it is without being too opinion-based. We just want people to have the facts so that they can make clear decisions.
Very good. Yet again, we've been speaking with Dr. Sonia Lewis, widely known as the Student Loan Doctor, joining us right here on the Live Zone. I truly appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. We're following breaking news where a federal judge just minutes ago threw the Justice Department's case against former FBI Director James Comey out, ruling the appointment of President Trump's hand-picked prosecutor was invalid. Now, this decision is a major rebuke of the retribution campaign against Trump's longtime enemy. Trump's Justice Department had rushed to secure Comey's indictment ahead of the statute of limitations that has since passed. Yet again, we are just getting word that the judge has officially thrown out the case. We will have more when Dante Mills, attorney extraordinaire, joins us in just about 7 minutes to follow up with regard to this breaking news. Speaking of the White House, earlier today, First Lady Melania Trump got a chance to officially welcome the White House Christmas tree. This happening within the past hour. The First Lady getting a chance to welcome the folks that actually delivered the tree, which will now be placed inside the Blue Room of the White House. But wait, there's more. The same folks will give the First Lady yet again another tree, and this tree will actually be placed within the Oval Office. So you get a 2-for-1 for First Lady Melania Trump. And then there's this new video that TMZ has released earlier today or over the weekend of, well, you see it right there, P. Diddy behind bars. This is the first time we're actually getting a chance to see the now convicted felony, if you will, behind bars, apparently mingling about with some of the, let's say, other jailbirds, as so many call them. It's really interesting to see Diddy behind bars, and if you take a look right here in just about a minute or so, you'll see him walking up, and as he does, it's perhaps a Diddy that many of us would not recognize. Completely gray. Take a look at his beard and hair, if you will. P. Diddy, yet again, now behind bars for quite some time, and does not look like the Diddy that we all know prior to being sentenced behind bars. We'll take a quick break. On the flip side of that break, yet again, breaking news. James Comey, the case against him, now thrown out by a judge. We'll have more on that in just a second, right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, we are just 1 minute away from the top of the hour. Yet again, we will have the latest surrounding James Comey's case, the case that President Trump brought against the former FBI director, now being thrown out by a judge. More on that in just a minute. In the meantime, it's time for a little celebrity dish, and she joins us each and every Monday. Yes, Life with Lindsay, back here on the LZ. Cello, my friend.
Hello, happy Monday and happy Thanksgiving too, because I won't see you later in the week.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little bummed about that. I got word that, well, I won't tell the folks where you're going, but you won't be available next week. And so we wish you well and say happy Thanksgiving to you too. Hey, we got a lot to get to and little time to do it. So in this case, let's kick it off with Wendy and Eddie Osefo calling their fraud case, quote, a fishing expedition. Their lawyer says police failed to properly investigate the couple's initial burglary, despite what they call indications of a break-in. According to new filings, prosecutors accuse them of using an extensive array of credit cards and aliases to really obscure their identities. They have a lot going on, Lindsay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even know what to say about this because on one hand, you want to believe them. On the other hand, you're like, are they scamming or is this just publicity? Like, what is going on here? I feel like I'm in a hurricane. Like, I don't even know which way to look.
Yeah, it's so confusing and yet again, innocent until proven guilty. But I've said this time and time again on the show as well. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of smoke here, Lindsay. I mean, you're making reference to aliases, different credit cards, jewelry seen that allegedly happened to be stolen, but they're wearing it as well. It's kind of hard to combat that.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I'm saying it's kind of confusing because on one hand, you're like, oh, I kind of get what they're saying. On the other hand, you're like, well, I mean, it is 2025 and there's technology where people scan people's identities and do all these things. And it's just, I hope that it's not true. But for them, I mean, like you said, when there's smoke, there is fire. And I mean, it's just not looking good, even if half of it's true and half of it's not, you know?
Yeah. Well, in this case, there's smoke, there's fire, and a lot of aliases. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Hey, speaking of those on reality TV, more drama for former Potomac housewife Mia Thornton. According to Page 6, she was facing eviction before she was arrested for allegedly stealing, get this, some $11,000 worth of furniture from a luxury condo she was renting in Atlanta. The company that leased the property filed an eviction lawsuit against Mia and her ex-boyfriend in September. Now, court documents claim they did not pay the $5,100 rent due for September and still owed more than $6,000 per month after that. Yet again, more drama. And why am I not surprised, Lindsay?
Yeah, because here's the thing. I think with reality television and just 2025 in general, everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, what people show on Instagram and these high-rise buildings. It's like, don't forget to live within your means because this is what happens when you don't do that. And that's okay. Like, if you don't have what everybody else has on Instagram, half of it's fake anyway. So just live within your means. I think that's the moral of the story here.
Yeah, we were able to get a little bit more insight with regard to the furniture, if you will, that allegedly happened to be stolen. And in this case, it's to our understanding, it was a TV that was posted on the wall. It happened to be owned by the landlord. Well, that TV was removed and then taken. And so it's kind of hard to combat that, saying yet again, hey, what happened to my TV? It's no longer there. Where did it go?
Yep. Exactly. And did they sell it? Did they put it in storage? Why would you even do that if it's not yours? And then you were saying there was like a certain amount of rent that wasn't paid as well. I mean, it's just, I hate to see this because I feel like so many people just are like, oh my God, I have to have all these things. And then they get in trouble. That's what the story is giving to me.
Yeah. And yet again, if I just borrowed it, Lindsay, then I would bring it back, meaning...
Exactly.
Hey, it could have been an accident. I thought it was mine. I just borrowed it, you know, and I'll leave it at that. Hey, just days before publicly announcing the end of her marriage, Kandi Burruss praised her husband, Todd Tucker. While speaking at BravoCon last week, Kandi thanked Todd for surviving reality TV. Todd was first introduced to the Housewives franchise in season 4 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta after he and Kandi met while he was working behind the scenes on the show. And we were just taking a look at B-roll of the show right there. Talk about confusing, Lindsay. One day you love them, the next day you don't.
Yeah, this is probably the most confusing of all of them because, like you said, to survive reality TV is a big thing. None of those couples ever do. So the fact that they survived reality television and now they're breaking up afterwards, is there any hope for reality television weddings? I don't know. how did they survive and now they're ending? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I was hanging out with a high-profile couple over the weekend, and I asked him, I said, hey, you guys ever thinking about being a part of the, let's say, Housewives of Potomac? And you know what their response was? We want to keep our marriage. We're happily married.
I mean, I believe them. I don't blame them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just really interesting. It seems that very few end up working out if you happen to be a part of that franchise. And so, hey, I mean, I guess there's a lot of drama that surrounds the drama of what's presented to us. So there you have it.
Right, exactly. Like what's happening off the camera that you made reality. Like you said, you survived the series, but now we're breaking up behind the camera. I mean, I wish them the best, but it just seems the math ain't mathing, as the kids would say.
Yeah, well, I can tell you what's mathing in a different way. In this case, it happens to be Justin Bieber. Apparently caught on camera. I don't know if we actually have the photo, but he was, well, let's just say using the bathroom while playing golf.
Oh, man.
For all to see. Talk about four. It happened in Palm Springs. In the leaked pics, the two-time Grammy winner appeared to get caught with his fly open as he played around. He was reportedly seen sipping some IPAs beforehand. This is the best part, Lindsay. I'm reading this for the first time. This guy is so popular. They're following him around and they know what he actually drank prior to doing what we all do, and that is using the bathroom.
I mean, yeah. Celebrities get away with so much. Could you imagine if you did that on the golf course or a woman did that on the golf course? Oh my God, we probably would have been arrested. So it's just like, and then there's also the other aspect of, I mean, not just to justify his actions by any means, but could you imagine being Justin Bieber and being followed by paparazzi every move you make? I don't know. So, I mean, this is just like, you shouldn't be doing this. But also, why was the paparazzi on the golf course? Does that happen? Is that normal?
Well, I got to tell you, if they were following me, there would be a big disappointment because I absolutely stink. Now, I got a good putting game, but outside of that, yeah, I'm horrible. The Biebs, he's an avid golfer with a rumored handicap of 10.2. That is actually really good for an amateur
really
golfer. I'm very surprised. I did not know he could play.
Yeah, especially if he's drinking IPAs and has that. So, you know what I mean? You got to give it to him. It's just like kind of let him do what he does. You know?
Well, Lindsay, that's honestly the secret. That makes you a lot better, at least in your mind. That, oh my God, I hit it straight, and if it kind of went over there, it's still, in my mind, it went straight.
Right. It gives you more confidence. You're like, you know what? I got this golf game. It's fine. Sign me up for the PGA.
Oh, gosh. You got to love the Biebs. We'll just leave it at that. Hey, obviously, we're celebrating all things Thanksgiving, and you know what I'm going to ask you. What are you thankful for in this case with regard to the next project?
I am so thankful. You know what? I know. I see what you're doing, but we're going to talk about that in 2026. I was just going to say I'm thankful for you for having me on every Monday. I appreciate that. So I want to say that.
Well, we're thankful to have you. It is truly an honor, and you do such a great job. Life with Lindsay joining us for a little celebrity dish right here on the Live Zone. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Tell your family I said hi.
You too. Have a good day.
All right, folks. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, we are now going to take you across the pond, as they say, in this case, to the UK Parliament, now questioning the BBC on misleading edit of Trump's speech back on January 6th. Let's take a live look in.
I think the BBC is biased in favour of left-wing views compared to 19% who think it's biased.
31% in favour of left-wing views.
Yes, 31% say it's biased in favour of left-wing views, 19% in favour of right-wing views, and the number that think it's in favour of left-wing views is actually going up. So if he is wielding his right-wing bias, he's not doing it very well. But leave that to one side. What's your view? Is Sir Robbie overly politically biased in his discussion?
No, he's not. No, he's not. And my account of my dealings with Robbie when he was my commissioner, he's interested in impartiality and accuracy. And I do think that when he brings to the table, and he feels very strongly about it, the stories, the issues he raises, look at the substance of it. The substance of it is about being accurate and fair. Not often discussed, and maybe Sir Robbie will talk about it himself. There was an issue about a rail strike where, Robbie, why don't you explain that?
Yes, I am, conscious of, the perception of my bias. I'm always on the lookout for biases the other way to make sure that I can, demonstrate what I say. And I saw a story before last Christmas. It was a train strike. And the whole story, it was a regional journalist. It was the whole notion of the train strike was how inconvenient it was to passengers, and it was very, very dismissive, verging on the critical of the union striking. And so I spotted this. It clearly, from my perspective, lacked the union voice, either in tracking or in clip. I raised it, sent it to the head of BBC England, and copied in EGSC. And it was agreed that was the case, and the journalist was spoken to, and he totally agreed, and that was good. One of the sorry.
No.
Are you responsible then in that case for the fact that YouGov found that 31% of people feel that the BBC is biased in favour of left-wing views?
So, look, I mean, this is the thing. I know it's hard to marry the fact that I spent 2 years as a director of communications for the government, not the Conservative, the government, and my genuine passion for impartiality. I want to hear the full range of views. I mentioned the recruiting of Lewis Goodall. I don't want the BBC to be partisan or favour any particular way. When you tune in, I want to know what is happening.
Can I begin to let me answer that question. I don't think that the way we address our issues are helpfully characterised as left-wing or right-wing. We examine them. Say, for example, which was not mentioned, we cover business coverage or the migration report. And there are issues we find that we're strong in some cases and we need to get better in others. I think the question is about, are we impartial? Are we covering all sides of the argument? Are we making sure that we are not showing any revealed preferences? That's what it's about. I think, I just don't think of it. Is this a left-wing position? Take, for example, our discussion, as we did, which is a very important, in this time frame, to January to May, every 5 years, the BBC reviews its editorial guidelines. It's the most important document we have to make sure that every 5 years, it came to the editorial, the EGSC, for rigorous examination. It then goes normal process to the board. We did that with great, and people discussed it. Even we discussed what is our position on the use of the word terrorist. So it's not just a simple, let's pass it. These are really important questions. These were debated. It was, again, a very strong, very helpful, very constructive debate. And that's how it works. I like differences of opinion. I like diversity of opinion. The worst thing for us is to have groupthink. We want to challenge, we want to. That's what's important. And it's important we have points of view representing, frankly, the country as a whole.
Cool. Rupert?
Yeah, I don't think it's just the 2 years at the Conservative Party, though, is it? Did you not work on the Portillo leadership campaign? Because I think what's interesting is you've gone in and out, back and forth, whereas other people usually make the break, go to one or the other.
Sure, but I spent 25 years at the BBC. That's the important thing. I have been defined by these 2 years at Number 10.
You have also worked.
I have worked for the Conservative Party.
The Portillo campaign. You worked for Francis Maud. So it's not just 2 years isolated.
No, but my point.
Anyway, look, that's. Oh, sorry.
But just for clarity, I was talking about how I've been defined. I'm not saying I haven't had any other political involvement in my history. I am 61, so there's a lot of time to fill.
So the EGSC, just wanted to ask, it's got a few holes in it now, right? Because of these resignations.
No, it's the board.
Oh, is this to me?
EGSC, or whoever wants to answer the EGSC questions.
Mr. Banerjee was not a member of the EGSC, he was a member of the board.
But,
and there's no hole there because
the two, Tim Davey and Debbie Tyler's work.
Yes. Well, that will be part of course, Caroline's examination of the composition of the EGSC. So maybe you would like to speak to that.
For the moment, Tim Davey is still Director General, so he would still be a member of the EGSC and come to the meetings. Jonathan Munro is the acting Director of News, so he will come in replacement for Deborah. Okay. So we don't have holes at the moment, but what the Chairman has asked me to do is do a root and branch review of EGSC, which I'm doing at speed and at pace at the moment, and one of the things we will look at is the membership.
It does seem a very small number of people to be arbiter of editorial standards, and including someone who is known for their conservative past and being a bit partisan. I just wondered, I've seen the minutes of the 6th of March 2025, and there's actually an agenda item. Actually, it deals with the BBC Arabic issue, so I do agree with what was said by you, Samir, in your letter, that some of the things in the Prescott memo were dealt with, so I don't know why they're in there still making hay, including BBC Arabic. However, plan for reform voters.
And for
reform voters. So there's a whole item in there about how there needs to be trust built with the reform electorate. Yes. Is there not going to be something similar planned for green voters? Those are going up as well in opinion polls. It does seem very slanted when you look at panel shows that there always seems to be Zia Youssef on it or Nigel Farage. This is a party with 4 MPs.
Yeah.
Why plan?
I'm happy to. I'm happy to take a put. Robbie, why don't you start? And I'll come in on it.
So there's 2 issues there, both of great interest. So that particular meeting, Deborah Tenness did a presentation on party support for the BBC, and it was a discussion by voting. There's a number of things, but then Labour were very, very supportive, and then there was concern about why is it that reform voters didn't support. They had, hostility to the BBC. And she had various thoughts that was absolutely not about doing stories that are favourable to reform, because that's how it could come across. One of her ideas was having more live discussion programmes in all. So that was what that was about. You look sceptical. So that was that. The second issue is something that's very close to my heart, is issue about allocation of airtime to different political parties. And there's a general sort of metrics for doing it, is that you look at past and present levels of support over 2 electoral cycles as making a judgment. And the particular problem at the moment, of course, is that you've got, for example, Reform leading in the polls, but very, very few seats. You've got Liberal Democrats further down the poll with many more seats. You've got the Greens, as you pointed out, in second in some polls. And you've got the government, in a much lower percentage, but they are the government, and you've got the leader, the official opposition struggling on but less than 20%, but still the official opposition. It is the exec are massively alert to this, and we have updates at every EGSC on this very, very subject.
May I answer that? And let me step back a bit. One of the jobs of the BBC and its news division is to reflect the points of view across the country, that we are properly impartial, and we hear that. In establishing where we may be weak or where we are strong, we do a lot of research. We do a lot of research on various demographics. We want to, for example, we need to make sure levels of trust are just as high amongst young people as it is amongst old people. And this is normal business. We look at how the country responds and to trusting the BBC.
Just the reform voters, why not?
And what we discovered when we did the political analysis is among lots of, we do demographic analysis, we do geographic analysis. One of the things about geography, which I'm very exercised by, is that support for the BBC declines as you go further north. This is a very, very big issue for the BBC. We are across the country, and it's made one of my strategic priorities is we move programs and production out, we need to move power out of London, and that will help establish better trust as we go further north. So it's not surprising that the news division examines itself.
It's surprising to the millions of licence fee payers that reform seems to be on so frequently. There's a plan for reform voters. There doesn't seem to be
we had a plan
rising.
For how to reach young people, and how do we do that? And that's not just about content, it's also about the platforms.
Some of the ones I asked Michael Prescott, just to get the other side of it. Was there any discussion of the dossier with him before, or even the appointment at all?
What?
Yeah, with yourself, because you're friends, we've established now.
I don't think I had any conversation. I know him, and I've got to know him a lot better since he's joined, but there was no conversation with him prior to his appointment. And in terms of the only contact I've had with him, I've not met him in person since Sorry, go on.
Yeah, in the run-up to the job. I think I asked him in the run-up to being appointed.
Nothing run-up to the job at all.
Since the dossier.
Nothing in the run-up to the job. It's quite a long time ago, but I'm 99% certain no contact. And in relation to the dossier, I phoned him about a week, coincidentally, prior to him sending his dossier, just checking in. I hadn't seen him or spoken to him since while I was walking along. And he actually asked me, or he told me he was thinking of sending a note to Samir as chair about his concerns about his time on EGSC.
All right, yet again, you've been watching the UK Parliament question the BBC. Donald Trump now perhaps suing up to $5 billion over a misleading edit in a documentary about a January 6, 2021 speech. The BBC has since apologized for the edit, admitting it gave mistaken impression that Trump called for violence, but has refused to pay any financial compensation. We'll continue to monitor this throughout the afternoon right here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Time now, it's 1:21, and well, on a Monday, what we typically do around this time is talk all things studies. In this case, Black Friday remains one of the most popular holiday shopping traditions in the U.S., but it's not without its challenges. Shoppers often face early morning lines, crowded stores in pursuit of the best deals. In 2024, more Americans shopped from home than in stores, with 87.3 million making purchases online. Which leads us to this, the new study, Best Places to Shop on Black Friday. And with that, we give you Mr. Chip Lupo from Wallet Hub. Good to see you, my friend. Happy Monday and welcome to the show.
Hey, Guy, good to be with you. Hey, look, do you think maybe the BBC could do a documentary on both of us, and then we could split the legal proceeds? That would make my Thanksgiving for sure.
You and me both. And Chip, quite honestly, I don't need $1 billion. They could just give me $1 million. I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
And you know what I will do with that $1 million, Chip? I'm headed to probably Best Buy to buy all things surrounding electronics. Yet again, we're talking about best places to shop for Black Friday, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's somewhat changed from the way I would argue you and I were used to doing it back in the day.
It has changed somewhat, and you can thank Amazon and a lot of online platforms for that. But what you've also seen a change in is that, and you know, because I'm sure at some point you've been dispatched to go out there to these Black Fridays where they were camping out. You don't see as many incidents where people are getting pepper sprayed or there's stampedes or fist fights as they're knocking down the doors to get in.
Yeah. I just remember those days. I mean, standing out, we were discussing this earlier on our Monday Talkers with Annie Mae, standing in line overnight just so that I can get a flat screen TV, which now it's just a click of a button and boom, it'll pop up at my house the next day.
Well, that's the thing, too. Now, Black Friday does extend to online, so a lot of places like Best Buy, you can still get your Black Friday deals without actually having to go to the store. But some people just love the idea of going to the store. It's become somewhat of a tradition. It's like a social event in a lot of ways.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the list. In this case, the best places to shop on Black Friday. And I can tell you, I'm cheating. I'm looking at the list, and you heard me make mention of Best Buy, but that's nowhere near the top.
No, it's interesting because the your biggest discounts are what we used to refer to strictly as department stores. JCPenney, Penny, Belk, Kohl's. Those will get you the biggest overall discounts, but that's primarily in areas in items such as apparel, jewelry. You can get some huge discounts on jewelry and also on appliances. Now, you will have to specialize a little bit and seek out places like Best Buy for electronics or appliances, or Walmart for across-the-board shopping, or even a place like Home Depot.
Yeah. Well, yet again, JCPenney taking the top spot. It's just so interesting. You know, I used to shop. As a matter of fact, I think this tie happens to be from JCPenney. If I can recall, you know what? It sure is. It's so.
And the JCPenney's, and they used to be, and usually they were like the anchor store at the malls.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing that as much anymore, and that was always a big attraction. Once you hit JCPenney, you could wander through the mall and see what some of the other retailers they were offering.
Yeah, it's just so interesting how times have changed. And yet again, we should make mention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Home Depot taking the 5th slot. And I wouldn't think that folks would show up at Home Depot, but I guess if you're looking to buy an oven, a refrigerator, or an appliance of some sort, that makes sense.
It does make sense because in a lot of cases, people, like you said, that's usually not an item at the top of people's wish list, but if you're in need of an item, and also for folks who are maybe thinking about winterizing their gardens or something, there's always deals on garden tools, mulch. I know my mom has been searching high and low for deals on mulch so she can get her garden winterized for the upcoming season.
Yeah. All right. Well, good to know. I can guarantee you won't find me in Home Depot, but perhaps JCPenney or Macy's for Black Friday. That's where you'll spot me.
I would not walk into a Best Buy on Black Friday, even if I had a loft above the store. Just give me my laptop, log me in, and let me do what I need to do online.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. But speaking of logging in and doing our shopping, that leads us to our next topic. In this case, we all know that the holidays bring plenty of joy, but they can also spark seasonal stress, much of it tied to, you guessed it, overspending. And so you all conducted a study with regard to holiday budgets by city. I am so intrigued by this, Chip. Do tell.
Yeah, now with the holiday budget, basically what it boils down to is, now people are budgeting at or maybe slightly lower than in previous years, which is a good thing. Now the question is whether or not you're going to be able to live up to that when actually shopping season begins, because as the boxer Mike Tyson once said, everyone has a game plan until they get punched in the face. So, I mean, you could have the most well thought out budget, but once you get in there and you get caught up in a couple of impulse buys, then your budget is ruined. Now, these budgets are basically relative to the city's median annual income. So just because a place like Palo Alto, California, at number 1, with a budget of almost $4,500,
wow,
that's relative to the income and the cost of living. So at the end of the day, it kind of evens out.
Yeah, and yet again, we were talking about the BBC, perhaps we suing them. You're going to need a lot more than $1 million if that's the annual budget for your shopping list, if you will, each and every year. Locally, where do we rank, Chip?
Washington, D.C., interesting, at about $1,950, but $1,952 to be exact. That's kind of on the low end because we are looking primarily at the district, and it's not as high median annual income as a place like in the DC metro. At the top of the list is Rockville, Maryland.
Wow.
At almost 2.5 times that. But again, that's relative. Montgomery County is a lot more expensive than DC in a lot of areas, and the median annual incomes are higher. So again, that kind of balances itself out.
Yeah. Yet again, our TV station is based right here in Bethesda, which is in Montgomery County, right down the road from Rockville. Sounds like I need to have a couple more friends in Rockville so I can get a couple of good gifts. All things with regard to budgets that folks plan to spend during this holiday season. It's really interesting, Chip. I love these studies. Every month or week, I should say, I discover something new. So I truly appreciate you joining us. We're going to have to leave it there, but you do it all so well, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
Same to you, guys. We'll talk next week.
Sounds good. We'll talk turkey. Pun intended.
Sure. Turkey and football.
All right, guys, we'll take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, it's a developing story. A judge now tossing James Comey's case out. The latest with Dante Mills. He joins us next, right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, it's the big story of the hour. Minutes ago, a federal judge throwing the Justice Department's case against former FBI Director James Comey, ruling the appointment of President Trump's hand-picked prosecutor was invalid. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is trial attorney, criminal attorney extraordinaire Dante Mills, back here on the Live Zone. Happy Monday, Dante. Always good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Guy. Happy Monday.
All right, so this is the big story. I got to tell you, I am somewhat surprised, but then there are those who would argue they're not surprised at all. How did we get to this point?
The short answer is there's, in this administration, there was just an abandonment of the pillars in these institutions. They wanted to bring in people that aligned with what they wanted to do, and they got rid of the people who were there but knew what they were doing. And when you do that, it leads to this type of an outcome. Because normally, there would have been people around the administration who told them, you cannot appoint an interim U.S. attorney if you've already filled that slot. That person has to be confirmed. And if they're not confirmed, then they have to be approved by the judges. That's how an interim U.S. attorney comes in if the interim slot was already used. And that's what happened here. Trump appointed an interim U.S. attorney. That attorney was there for over 120 days, but left when he did not feel comfortable indicting Comey and Letitia James. Trump brought in Lindsay Halligan and appointed her as an interim, but that slot wasn't available. So the judge here said she had no right to be appointed as the interim U.S. attorney. Therefore, anything she did under that appointment is not valid. And these two cases were brought under that appointment, so now they're gone.
Wow. Yet again, a major bombshell. And so, Dante, I got to ask you, I mean, you just made mention of someone within, let's say, his entourage or those he was flanked and or surrounded by speaking up and saying, Mr. President, you can't do that. Well, now the egg is on his face, but yet again, I would assume, since we've seen the president's past reaction, that he will not take the blame and now put that blame on someone else.
Yeah, I'm certain he's going to try to shift that to someone else. There's not a lot that can be done here, though. He can point fingers and blame people, but especially in James Comey case, the statute of limitations is gone. So if this indictment is out, then they don't have time to indict him again. The statute of limitations ran, so they cannot bring those charges against him if these charges are gone. He actually dropped the ball. So we'll see who he points the finger at and who he blames. But ultimately, James Comey may be in a position where he's okay now. These charges were dismissed without prejudice, which means these charges can be brought again, at least against Letitia James. So if they appoint somebody, which they can, a judge has to do, or if they get someone appointed through Congress, if they get someone through that confirmation process, then they can reinstate the charges or bring new charges against Letitia James, and we'll see how those goes, how those charges go, if she can then challenge what the charges are themselves. But as of right now, everything is gone.
Yeah. What about retribution for Mr. Comey? I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, if I happen to be in that position, defamation of character, you made me look like something that I was not, and now, I plan to sue you, perhaps. Is that possible?
It's a possibility. Malicious prosecution is an actionable claim. You can bring a claim for malicious prosecution. And he already said signaled that he was going to make that claim and say that they only brought charges against him because he was an enemy of the president. Now he can take that argument a step further and say, you didn't even have the authority to bring charges against me, but you did anyway. And I think that bolsters his argument and will put him in a better position when bringing those civil charges. I would expect that. I think James Comey has made it clear that he wants a battle with this administration, with this president. And I think he knows that he's sitting in a very good position right now, since the charges they brought against him were completely dismissed and seemingly didn't have the right to bring those charges in the first place.
Yeah, yet again, if you're hearing it for the first time, the judge has now tossed the case out against Mr. James Comey. One of the big stories we have been following, but wait, there's more. We go from, let's say, the White House and politics, in this case to sports, where Portland Trail Blazers coach and basketball Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups pleaded not guilty today to charges he profited from rigged poker games involving several mafia figures and at least one other former NBA player. What's the latest on this, Dante?
Yes, I have some insight on this. I have some clients that are in just on the outside of this. Thank God they're not named or involved, but from my understanding, Chauncey Billups is saying he wasn't aware that this was happening. From my understanding, this investigation went on for a long time, and the FBI has a lot of information that shows that the mafia was in fact rigging these games. But the claim, at least on Chauncey Billups' side, is that they were bringing in these celebrities just to get people to the table, but they weren't filling them in on what actually was happening. Chauncey Billups knew that he was a part of, just kind of the marketing campaign of this project, where he would sit at the table and that would get people interested in being there, but he didn't know, or he wasn't told, that they were in fact rigging the games. He thought it was just regular poker games. If he can show that there was no awareness, I think that helps. Even if he profited and they paid him, say, to be there as a celebrity, but he wasn't aware that illegal activity was actually being performed, I think he has an opportunity to get out of this case and be found not guilty of these charges.
Wow, very interesting. Yet again, what an amazing defense that one could argue in the court of law. We know that the judge released Billups on a $5 million bond, and he actually put up his Colorado home as collateral. Is that standard? Would someone typically do something like that?
Yes, I mean, what's standard is whatever you can do to get out and fight this case from the outside, from the streets, you do that. Nobody wants to sit in jail if they don't have to. I know that cash bail and cash bonds are a thing that they're trying to get away from because it puts people in a position. Not a lot of people would have been able to afford that, but thankfully he is in a position based on the money he made in the NBA as a player and as a coach, where he had that collateral to put up so that he can get out of jail. I'm not surprised he did. Whatever number the judge would have said, I'm sure he would have tried to put that together so that he can fight this from the outside and be home with his family, especially during the holidays and throughout this process. Yeah. If he's saying, I'm going to be found not guilty, he expects to be home from now and, until the end of time.
Dante, early on, we spoke with another attorney, and she said perhaps his argument would surround him fearing for his life, that because the mafia happened to be involved, perhaps they would threaten him in some way, form, or fashion to harm him and or his family. With regard to what you just said, he's taken a different approach. Could one switch it up at any time? Say, you know what, okay, I really did this because I feared for my life, not because I did not know.
Listen, you don't have to prove anything as a defendant. What you have to do is poke holes in the prosecution's case and say they're not meeting all of their elements. But if he's saying he was forced or coerced into this, made to do this under the fear of threat, it went on for a while. I don't think that would really be a winning argument, because at some point he could have reported that to the authorities. He could have let them know. It's not like, they held him hostage until he sat at this poker table. This was something that happened multiple times, where he went home in between, was away from them in between. And I think the courts would then say you had an opportunity to get out of this situation. But I think him saying I wasn't aware is a much stronger defense and allows him to really show, listen, I'm a celebrity. I show up for promotional activities all the time. What they do behind the scenes, I'm not aware of, so I shouldn't be held accountable for. I think that's a much stronger argument.
Yeah, yet again, it really has a script made for a movie, and I cannot wait to watch it. Dante Mills, attorney extraordinaire, joining us right here on the Live Zone. I truly appreciate your time, my friend.
No problem. Have a good afternoon.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, Matt Dillon, yes, all things fashion, the ND Effect, joins us next as he talks about his weekend here in D.C. And, oh, by the way, fashion just in time for Turkey Day. That and so much more coming up next right here on the Live Zone. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Look who walked into the building. Fashion extraordinaire, all things fashion. You know, if they just have a dictionary, you open it up and it says fashion, and in the picture right there, it's going to be this guy, Matt Dillon, founder of the MD Effect. Good to see you, my man.
Thank you for having me,
But of
as
course,
always.
yeah, I'm loving the jacket.
You know, I have to bring it for you. And it's like, we're Thanksgiving vibe.
It's like
a little
cranberry-ish.
Oh, he got it. He got
I love that.
He read the notes I said.
You have been a very busy man, my friend.
DC loves us.
I can tell. You arrived on Friday, and you can tell.
We had so you had Gertie on your show, Gertie Brer from The Real Housewives. So we had the big book signing at Busboys and Poets on Friday night, which was epic. I was like, I've never seen like community driven, and I think that's one thing DC really thrives on, community. And let me tell you, after community,
I see it right here.
All right, here we go. We're living our best lives. But then we took it to the streets, baby, and we got some real good food at Sapadillo's. Now, if you don't know Caribbean food, Samantha, I have to shout her out. We danced, we ate, we shot it at a clock. We lived our life. And we celebrated Gertie in such a beautiful way. So I have to shout out Sapadillo's, who I met online lunch hour.
Really? Wow.
And I remembered her, and I was like, can we come for some grilled, baby? And it was just beautiful to be surrounded by people uplifting people. You know, we had John Murray there, Barnett's, who I've met here before too. Cherise, all the girls.
Yeah,
all the girls.
It was so funny. I was following
and
you
I was waiting for you.
I know. I tried to make it out. I work a lot of jobs. Man. I apologize.
I know.
But it was just so cool to see you, in essence, really take over DC. It happened to be flooding my timeline the entire time on Saturday.
That's
I woke
the way
up.
Gertie and I roll. They call us the G Unit for a reason.
I absolutely love you, and I love this time of the year. Why? Because I'm thinking about Thanksgiving. Oh my gosh, the food. But wait, there's more. Fashion! Hey, man, we
come on, my
we
sing.
So one of the things with regard to fashion during this time of year, I think so many folks think of, let's say, the bulky sweaters and things of that sort, but Matt Dillon says that's not the case.
I would like to preface and say, like, do as you do and you feel comfortable. Obviously, you know, if you're having a big meal, you're going to, at the end of the night, turn into your sweats. But make it an occasion. I feel like this year has been a really big year for a lot of people, good, bad, and different and ugly. So let's be thankful and let's kind of like show it up. And you can pull things from your wardrobe you already have, but you really can keep it monochromatic. I mean, like, I'm giving the perfect example of, like, I'm the cranberry sauce right now. Buttery colors, pumpkin colors, colors that are actually fall already. So we're actually already in, there'll be transitional pieces in your wardrobe that you can just pop on.
Wow.
And I feel like we need to be thankful for each other more than ever in these days.
Yeah, no, it's
and
all.
Fashion can do it.
Yeah, and so you brought several looks along, if you will, two of which happen to be photos. So let's go ahead and pull it up, producer Joey, the first look. So what is this right here? What am I looking at,
Okay,
Matt?
so what we have here is a bodycon dress, but it's the fringe that's giving that party vibe. So I feel like here, this is obviously, you know, a lot of people like to go out. They have like beautiful dinners, lunches. So I know in the DC area that it's like hotel vibes, it's the, you know, 5-star Michelin restaurants. So dress it up. But the way we would really work this would be add a trench to it or add a simple blazer that really cuts the figure and really makes it kind of that feminine vibe, but really have fun. I mean, this is like she's cha-chaing in the dining room, but I'm like, I'm all for it because fringe is on trend right now. And what woman doesn't want to feel a little va-va-voom?
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's, you know, I love spicy food, but that's spicy as well. I mean,
I could see you getting spicy, babe.
You know me oh so well. That's one of the many looks, and the other, what's this that we're looking at now?
Okay, so we're getting a little chilly up in DC.
Okay.
So we're taking on the Bermuda vibe.
I love
And we're
this.
taking things from when it was a little warmer.
Yeah.
And we're keeping them in the closet. So this is giving resort, I want to not be in DC for the Thanksgiving holiday. No, it's not, you know, it's not that cold out there right now. So again, I think this is that vibe of like holiday, fresh, I'm on a tropical island situation. But again, pair it with a blazer. This would look dope with a black boot, a leather jacket.
Wow.
Something like that where I'm like, you're doing hard and soft. I think that's the key.
Is that what it is now?
That's the key. And also for the women, masculine vibes. So it cut blazers, really pair that hard and soft. And I think even for the men, you know what I mean? Just really pair, you gotta, you know, I was bringing a heel, just that tower over your king.
You know what's interesting? You bring that up, and over the weekend also in my timeline is the F1 Formula race that took place in Vegas. Of course, all things fashion as well. And you're right, I saw a lot of women wearing blazers.
Yes.
Wow.
And I think it's the easiest way Blazers are a staple. If you got your boyfriend, your husband,
Yeah.
pull a blazer from him.
Wow.
And you instantly transform an outfit that may not be suitable for the actual function, but it just brings it in a little bit. So you want to wear fringe and frou-frou or look like you're on a vacation in the Bermuda area, definitely just a simple blazer, structural, a great shoulder, will change it up completely.
Yeah, I absolutely love these pictures, but you know what I love more? The real thing.
Deal. Hello, let's get in here. Now, where can I see my Hannah? Okay,
There
here
we
we
go.
go.
Wow.
Here we go. So here I want to really give you that va-va-voom. She is the cranberry sauce all over.
Yeah, it's like you all are matching.
We are here. Ready? Get it, Hannah. So what I want to do here, so the midi skirt here I love. It's simple. It's something she would already have in her wardrobe as a working girl, keeping it together. Not that kind of working girl.
I got you.
She's an Olympic qualifier. What do you do, girl?
I'm an ice dancer.
There you go.
There we go.
I had
It's
to
a
give
family
her,
show. See?
I had to give a little shout out here. So what I really wanted to do here was clash the concept of cranberry. So we see we have the different tonal, and I'm not sure whether I can hold you up to show that, sure, but we won't try it. We're gonna try it. What I really want to do is here is celebrate Thanksgiving and give a feather moment. Let's give it a little spin around, girlfriend. Okay, this is from Noblesse Oblige. This is another trend, lingerie in like everyday life. So here, this is actually a lingerie designer, but the way this is, it's moving lingerie into the fashion realm, which I think is amazing.
And it's not too revealing at the same time,
Listen, if you got it, you want it. And then finally, bigger is always better.
Oh, wow.
Let's get into it. Angle there, baby.
Wow.
Accessorize it up, but remember, keep it tonal. So we're really keeping everything into that tonal perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everything's monochromatic here. We're really playing from shoe to here. We're playing in the same color palette. Here you go, darling. I'm being a gentleman. Wow, she's got me working on the live zone, bro. Thank you,
I love
Hollow.
that. Yeah, great job. And it's just so cool, man, how, as to your point, you're stating that a lot of this could already be in your closet.
I think most of it would be. So it's about how you go in and take a fresh pair of eyes. And maybe you go to a thrift store, check online. There's sales happening right now. Obviously, Black Friday is happening right after Thanksgiving. Buy one of those piece de resistance pieces. Like here, everything I'm wearing, I've had literally for years. Wow. But I saw this and I was like, that's going to make Guy jealous. Bam, baby.
See, what he doesn't know, as soon as this segment ends, I'm going to knock him over the head.
Oh,
and I'm taking that jacket. See,
hold on, mic it up.
Trying to get ready. He's already trying to leave.
Sorry about it.
Oh, it's all good. Folks that want to find out more information about you and all things fashion, how would one go about to do
Follow
so?
me on Instagram, MattDillon1983, and themdeffect.com.
Yeah, I absolutely love this guy. You were all things fashion.
Wait,
all
you got
things
me
cool.
pop the collar. My man, I love you.
My guy, same
Thank
here.
you.
Matt Dillon joining us for a little fashion right here on the Live Zone. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. A little weather. Good afternoon, sir.
You got to do a segment, my friend, on how to handle family affairs for Thanksgiving. You know, if you don't get along with family.
Ooh, yeah.
Because I have an issue that only you can help me with.
Should we talk about it off air?
No, we'll talk about it right here.
Okay. What's the issue?
With the Cowboys winning on Sunday, I'm going to hit a family that's got a lot of Cowboy fans on one side, and it's going to be a long weekend.
Yeah, I know. I'm
and then
so
they're playing on Thursday. How do I deal?
Yeah. Well, I think Kansas City's going to be victorious. So, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Maybe that'll quiet things for a day or two. Because, they're already starting up after the big win they had yesterday. Right?
Whatever.
Okay.
To be continued.
Yeah, to be continued. Okay, let's do some weather together. We look great. I mean, it's beautiful out there early this morning, and it will remain a beautiful day. We've got temperatures which will be in the 50s. Traveling today, hitting the roads, Philly, all the big cities up and down the eastern seaboard. I could stretch this from Boston to Atlanta, look good. So we're fine this afternoon, fine tonight.
Okay.
We do have some rain in the forecast, and if you look out, the one troublesome area, kind of central portions of the country, especially Dallas up towards St. Louis, pretty good thunderstorms today. But if you're flying later today or tonight, there won't be too many problems for the big cities on the West Coast or really much of the country here. Dallas, parts of Texas, Arkansas would be the lone areas that might have some delays. That area of rain, Guy, is headed in our direction and will be here tomorrow afternoon in the form of rain showers. So we will see, and it won't just be the mid-Atlantic, it'll honestly be the eastern seaboard. We'll see periods of rain tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night if you're traveling. It'll be just rain. It will be too warm to support any winter weather, so we're not worried about that. But there you go, kind of Tuesday afternoon. Here we are, 4 o'clock. You can see the rain across the region. Tuesday night, waves of rain into Wednesday morning. That's Tuesday night overnight, into early Wednesday morning. And then we will briefly warm up Wednesday to near 70 degrees.
Wow.
Yep, but it's a very strong Arctic boundary, which you can, I can't point to this map, but if you look there, that rain shower activity coming through Wednesday afternoon is a strong Arctic front. And look at the temperatures tumble. 69 to 47, windy and cool Thanksgiving. That chilly breeze continues Friday and Saturday. Overnight lows will mostly be below freezing, so get ready. It will be cold, but that's great eating weather.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm thankful for Wednesday and near 70. Thank you, Tucker Barnes.
Reason to be thankful.
All right. I'm also thankful for Kansas City if they pull out that victory on Thursday.
I will be thankful for that too.
Tucker Barnes, yes, all things weather, right here on the Live Zone. Guys, if you haven't already done so yet, make sure you download the Fox Local app and take that forecast with you on the go. All right, got about 30 seconds left in show. Producer Joey now joining us as well. The big takeaway for you today, Joey?
Well, how Diddy looks right. Hello?
Yeah.
How Diddy looks right now is my biggest takeaway for the day. Look at this. Look at this. The gray beard is something that I absolutely did not expect to see from Diddy. What do you think?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. We got a chance to see this earlier. We know that a lot of folks have been talking about Diddy. Obviously, he is behind bars, but to see him completely gray, not only in his beard, but his hair as well. I mean, it was really shocking and revealing. And so I think a lot of folks are still saying, wow, I can't believe that happens to be Diddy. We'll see, I mean, obviously convicted now and will spend several years behind bars. The question is, will he look like that, Joey, once he is released from prison? That's going to be really interesting to find out as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, will he be released? I mean, we're assuming he will be, things are going to, maybe work out for him in the court or whatnot. But it just goes to show, when you're used to a certain lifestyle, as I'm sure Diddy is, beyond even the parties, just being a celebrity, getting fed a certain way, and then you trade that in for a cell, and you see what it does to you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, you could tell that he's been stressed out, and there he is right there. And take a look at that. I mean, it just does not look like the Diddy we have all seen in years past. But here's the good thing for him, at least, all smiles. And so apparently, I guess he's taking it in stride, as they say, as yet again he remains behind bars. But that is not the Diddy that we've all seen in years past. So, all right, folks, we truly appreciate you watching. We do this each and every Monday through Friday, 12 to 2. Tell a friend, bring a friend. We'll do it again. Hey, tonight, by the way, I'm hanging out with the crew. Brittany Alexandra, she'll be on Like It or Not, along with Jim and Marina. And then, lucky me, I get a chance to stick around with my guy, producer Chris, for Do You Like It or Not, which comes up at 7:30 right here. It's funny, he's sitting right over there, so I'm going to go sneak over there as soon as I'm done and ask him, Joey, what topics we're discussing tonight. I want to kind of get a heads up. But I would encourage you to join us as well. If you haven't already done so, make sure you download the Fox Local app so you could watch 7:30 with producer Chris. We call it Do You Like It or Not. We truly appreciate you watching. That just about does it for us. The Take coming up next right here on Fox 5.